Hey, how's it going? Now, if you saw my Logan discussion rant review thing, you know that I said I was going to be recording a review for one of my all-time favorite movies, sequel. And that, of course, is going to be this review right here, and talking about the movie T2, not Terminator 2, Trainspotting 2. Which I do love Terminator 2, by the way, but that's a different video for a different time because I love those Terminator movies. But Trainspotting. Let me give you some context about this movie. Trainspotting is one of my all-time favorite movies. I absolutely love that movie. I love the acting, the characters, the writing. Danny Boyle did an excellent job with that movie across the board. It's just absolutely a favorite of mine. I've seen it quite a few times, and the last time that I watched it, I decided that I was going to finally maybe get around to watching Trainspotting 2. And I never really had an interest to watch Trainspotting 2 just because I had heard mediocre, lukewarm things about it. So I was it was never really high on my list of movies to watch. So one day I had a break from work and I was kind of browsing through a video shop that's really close to where I work, and I came across Trainspotting 2 brand new for $2. So I sat there for a minute and I bought it. Yeah. And so I then didn't watch Trainspotting 2 for a couple more months. And in that time span, I rewatched Trainspotting. So I was like, all right, I'm going to finally do it. Tore the plastic off this, and I put the DVD in, and it didn't work. No, it actually, it did work. But I'm always afraid when I buy a movie. This is a quick rant, by the way. I'm always afraid when I buy a movie and I don't watch it like right away when I buy it, and the time runs out to return it, and I go and I open it up and I put the disc in. I'm always afraid it's not going to work and I'm not going to be able to return it. But anyway, that's not what happened here. I put it in and I watched it, and I thought, that's actually a pretty good sequel. It's a pretty good movie. Trainspotting 2 is pretty good. It's not as great as the original movie, but I also don't think it's a mediocre movie. Like, I actually really enjoy this movie. I would say the biggest flaws with it are definitely the fact that the beginning part, the first third, the first act of this movie, definitely felt unfocused, which is kind of an issue, but it's also kind of reminiscent of the whole Trainspotting thing, where it doesn't really have a clear plot and it just kind of meanders around, which really works in the first movie, but it didn't work as much here because it felt like it was trying to go somewhere. But all the same, I still did enjoy the first act, and then at the end there were just a few things that I didn't feel were necessarily resolved. And aside from those two things, I thought this movie was pretty good in every aspect. The acting is great. You got Ewan McGregor, and the original cast, of course, is back. And I really like the direction that they take all the characters. One thing about this sequel is that it felt very, very true to its characters. Nothing felt cheated. Nobody's arc felt just disregarded. Everything from the first movie, which, by the way, I just want to say the first movie has a perfect ending. I love the ending of that. It's one of the best movie endings, for my money, of all time. And so that's another reason why I was really skeptical to go into this, because I was just like, where's this going to go? But when you see that time has passed and where these characters all are, it makes sense. And it's really interesting to see where everything ends up, because the plot of this movie is mainly that Renton, Ewan McGregor's character, is returning back to his hometown and kind of reconnecting with everybody. So it's really interesting to see where his relationship with Sick Boy is, and it's really interesting to see where his relationship with Renton is. Or not Renton, it's really it's really interesting to see where his relationship with Spud is. And of course there's the big one, Begbie, who that's one of the main conflicts of the movie, so I'm not going to get too much into that. But it's still just very realistic, I felt, with the way that they kind of communicate, because admittedly my relationship with friends over time has changed, and I could really feel that in here. Like, some people that I really had a problem with when I was younger, I go back now and I talk to them and we're totally fine. So yeah, I felt like it was really good in that regards, and I do like the direction that the story ends up going, but like I said, there are those few minor parts that kind of bother me, and I do feel like it is a movie where you have to have seen the first one. If you haven't seen the first one, then it's useless. But that can be a positive or a negative, I guess, depending on how you want to look at it. So take that as you will. So I'm going to say about this movie is, it's a good movie. It's worth watching. I would give this one a 7 out of 10 if I had to assign a rating to it. And I would recommend this movie to people who really love the first one, like myself. And if you didn't like the first one, there's no reason to watch it. If you haven't seen the first one, I wouldn't recommend it. I would definitely recommend watching the first one, seeing how you feel about it, and then deciding whether or not to come and visit this one. But on whole, it's definitely worth it. I will be watching it again, and it will be a nice addition to those times when I want to put on Trainspotting. I'm just going to flow right into this movie. So yeah, that's my thoughts on T2 Trainspotting. And let me know what you thought if you've seen it below. Let me know what you thought of the first Trainspotting. And that's all I got for you on this one. So until next time, goodbye.